beautiful souls. I hope you're doing well. Today, it's a pleasure to do a new CIT or Creative Intuitive Transmission. It has been a few weeks now since I was traveling in France for the Rencontre Galactique and for some vacation holiday, but also because I had some personal events in my life regarding an eventual move to Ireland that didn't end up taking place. And I invite you to look at my last video, Moving to Ireland, and other updates if you want to know more about the events of the last few weeks and the reasons why I haven't done any CITs lately. So I hope you're all well. Everything is good. Although we are in a situation in the world right now where things are moving really fast and things can look a little bit chaotic and challenging, obviously. Let's not pretend. We are in a change of energy. We are slowly moving towards the lower fourth density, if we're not already in it. And that brings some major changes to our world. It brings light. It put lights on what really was there all the whole time, and really brings us, each of us, to a place where we are confronted to heal and deal with the things that we haven't dealt with or healed or transmuted yet in our inner journey or spiritual journey, depending on how you call it. So those are challenging days, but that doesn't mean it cannot be a fascinating and beautiful, intense journey. It always depends on our perspective and the way in which we position ourselves and posture, what posture we adopt in those times of challenges and transition. Sorry. Today, our creative intuitive transmission has the title "Back to the Essence," and it was, in a way, inspired to me by the Mella Collective, which is, as always, my soul cluster, or the group of souls I am part of. And so I am also contributing to the inspiration that they bring. And so what I like to do always in those CITs is to bring also some of my experience, because it also brings the more grounded aspect of living on Earth, on Terra, to often what is a beautiful, more spiritual message, if we want, in all, in all humility. But so it grounds the message a little bit more through my own experience. Why back to the essence? Because, as I've mentioned, we are in a place where things are changing, and moving fast. And it is easy to go everywhere and to feel a little bit overwhelmed by the chaos taking place right now, with all the disclosure taking place that we've been talking about for many years, but many people didn't want to hear or believe us. Now they have no choice but to actually face this reality. And even the people who have been kind of aware of these elements over the years, maybe long years, like 30 years or more, like our dear Alex Collier, or more recent times, well, there's always things that we didn't imagine how challenging it would be to deal with. So I think it's a challenge for all of us, and there's no ego there saying, oh, we knew all the time and we're so much better, we're awakened, we've seen the light. No, we haven't. We were aware of certain things perhaps a little bit before others, just because we were kind of trailblazers and we were there to help and just be of support to people who are now awakening to these challenging and scary realities. So back to the essence, because when we are in those times when everything seems to go everywhere and it's very chaotic, and mostly what's really happening presently is that we have a lot of misinformation, disinformation. We have a lot of false narratives that are, and psyops that are obviously pushed quite intensely by the deep state, by the cabal, by their minions, by every person who doesn't want to lose their posture of control and power and money, and so a lot of these a lot of that misinformation brings a lot of chaotic um, context to our lives presently. And there's also agents, sometimes paid agents, sometimes just people who don't know that they're actually working for, a compromised state, or I don't know, things like that, or working with a posture or energetic posture that's more, let's say, less towards the light. And so, because we have these elements in our lives, which in itself, if you look at it on the other perspective, on the higher perspective, they're really there to create contrast for us to be more, creating more discernment in our life, and to exercise that discernment in our life and be more sovereign and more free. And so those elements are there to help us decide what is aligned with us or not, what information, what posture, what words we resonate with deeply in our heart, in our soul, and what doesn't resonate with us. It doesn't mean that we have to devilize everything that doesn't resonate with us. It just means that we can just choose not to go there. And I don't know about you guys, but I've had personally the experience lately to be faced with situations where I had to really, really face my discernment and determine, am I resonating with the posture or words or of either some people or some situations, and had to decide to choose otherwise, or to move away, or to and so that's not always easy. It's not a comfort zone, because, as empaths and people pleasers, like I've been many years of my life, unfortunately, I'm still working on this. We tend to not want to put things aside or people aside, or move on from certain situation with which we don't resonate anymore. But that gives us the opportunity to go within and to discover within our heart what's true, what's not, what resonates with us, what doesn't, and nobody else can tell us that truth. This is something we need to experience by ourselves, and we need to go within in order to do so. And that goes for not just for situations or people in our lives, but also for all the little details that constitute our reality, our everyday reality, which might be the jobs that we hold, that we have. It might be the objects that surround us in our reality. It might be, the food that we actually eat, that, really is a part of who we are, because we are what we eat. So all of these elements that are really grounded into the reality of daily life really also play an important role in telling us where we stand, what are our priorities, what are our values, what is our posture, where we stand, what we want and don't want anymore in our life. And I'll give you an example. If you watched that video I published, the last one about moving to Ireland, it's been an interesting situation for me, because I was placed in I actually put myself in the place where I thought I would transferring my lease, and I would be selling all my furniture and be left with only just a luggage and a little bag to move to Ireland, which will happen in some ways, but more through time and in a more calm pace than what I was thinking of doing first. But the whole point of this is that when I went through this process, I was also encouraged in a way to do a lot of cleaning and a lot of getting rid of a lot of stuff that I had accumulated in my very small one-room studio apartment, where it doesn't hold a lot of stuff, but still I was able to manage to have a lot of stuff accumulating there. And so you might think, who cares? It's just stuff. Well, for me, it's a metaphor, because it's a metaphor of the stuff that we have in our heads, that we have in our thoughts, in our ego, that we keep, meddling with. And for me, getting rid of a lot of stuff is very important because in some ways it liberates in energetical space, because I think that I do have a strong connection to objects as well as people. So, the presence of certain objects or certain things associated with these objects might actually have an impact on my state of mind, on my thoughts. So the less objects I have, the less interference I have with my beingness, with going within and being at the essence of what's really important for me. So this process of getting rid of a lot of unneeded stuff was for me also this part of this process of being back to the essence I'm talking about here. So there's many ways in which we can go back to the essence, and this necessity to go back to the essence is, like I've said, encouraged by the fact that we need to go within and stop being, how can I say, influenced all the time by what's outside of us, trying to find our truth outside of us or through other people's, because everything, as we know, and I've repeated 100 times, all our answers are within us. And when we go within, we find these answers. And we also know what our values are, what's important for us. We center, we find the essence of who we are, what is important for us, and what we need to do or to be. So this is why going back to the essence is absolutely crucial. So I think you get the gist of it all. I mean, I don't need to give another 100 examples about what it is to go back to the essence in the form of minimalism. That doesn't mean that you have to be living, in a bare space. I've kept the minimum that I need, a few elements of furniture and objects that I like the most. And this way I feel that I'm free. Anytime I can go somewhere and I don't have to go through a bunch of things. Same thing with my values. This opportunity of an eventual move to Ireland was an opportunity for me to also ask myself, what are my values? What I want in my life from now on? What is important? What I need to focus upon. So that's also part of going back to the essence and, just going within. So, it's nothing profoundly new. This is just a reminder that the Mella Collective and myself wish to offer today as a form of invitation to better deal with the current chaotic events by, centering, going within, finding the essence of who we are, what we do, what we want to do, what we want to have and don't have in our lives. And that's pretty much the essence. So today, to illustrate this beautiful or inspiring message by the Mella Collective, we were inspired a background image here that we have, and I will just move a little bit so you can see it. So it's the beautiful representation of a young woman who, could be a young man, because we all have the sacred feminine and sacred masculine within us as beings. And we have this being who's sitting on the beautiful lotus, which often is a representation of awakening, of opening up to our deepest and most divine aspect of us, the fractal of source that we are, basically. And this being is just sitting calmly. I'm sorry, there's been a technical issue here. How interesting and coincidental that at the moment I was talking about sitting in peace, being in contact with our higher self, suddenly the fire alarm rang in my studio apartment. And I thought that was interesting because that's a lot of symbolism as well. I mean, life speaks not only through iconography, which is these images, but also through events in our lives. And if we're ready to hear and listen to them, they speak volumes without puns intended. How I interpret this sudden burst of very unpleasant noise in my apartment while I was talking about calmness is that, this is what the world is all about right now. Right now, Terra is a giant fire alarm and it starts out of nowhere when we don't expect it. And it's very annoying and it makes us cringe. But again, it is how we're going to, it's which posture we're going to actually take that will change the whole situation. So we're always being tested in that way through contrast. It's like, how am I going to react? Am I going to cringe and scream and being like angry or scared or being in fear? Or am I just going to take my chair, go up to my alarm, turn off the button, and continue my video, which is what I did. So, it's always an opportunity we're being tested to see how we react to situations. So let me go back to my topic. I have to say, I kind of lost a little bit of the gentle kind of vibes that I was in. But yeah, so we have this being that's sitting in the light of it's beautiful starlight as well, which reminds us of the nature of our, the fractals of source that we are. And it's also this beautiful lotus represents, as I said, the awakening, the opening up of our divine nature as fractals of source. And there's a form of centeredness to this whole picture, to this whole image, where everything is centered. The lady is centered in the middle of the lotus. The lotus is at the center of the image. Everything is very centered. And so we are really invited again to go back to this centeredness, to this going within, but also by being centered, we are aware of what the essence is, because we're not being thrown here and there, left and right. We're just aligned, up and down, grounded on Terra, connected to the stars, and just completely there, ready to be in our mission that we naturally do. It's not an ego thing, the mission. It's more about how we just are in the world and do in the world in a way that's benevolent, respectful, and based on love. So this is for our beautiful background here that really invites us to stay centered. And although there are mountains and things around, you have also the ocean here that's very calm waters, which again, water is often associated with the unconscious, but perhaps also with our spiritual nature. And it's calm. It's a place of just centeredness and availability to oneself and to the world in a posture of centeredness. Now, I have created as well a collage of Japanese washi chiyogami paper, as always, for my creative intuitive transmissions. And this collage that you can see here on my right is called Melentïr. Melentïr. And it's interesting because normally most of the time for my collages, I used quite colored papers. I like the colors. It's very joyful, and it brings a lot of, joyfulness to the creative aspect of it. However, today I felt like I was inspired, let's say, to use more black and white, gold and black paper, which gives this very minimalistic aspect to our creation today. And it was intended to remind us of the essence of beauty in the simple things as well. Things don't have to be super colorful and super, super saturated to be beautiful. Sometimes a very simple contrast of colors of black and white, for example, can be very graceful and can be very beautiful in its minimalism. So what we have here is a representation in the background of a black and white paper decorated with waves and sea foam, which to me obviously represents this sort of kind of chaotic nature of what is happening in our surroundings right now on Terra and in life in general. An incarnated life is full of challenges and contrasts and things that come to kind of tumble us like, in a roaring sea. But then at the center of this roaring and chaotic sea, we have a central large circle of black and white again, which normally it represents stylized waves. But I also associate sometimes with scales, depending on, how you want to interpret this. But what this represents to me is a more organized, if you want, way of representing waves. So in a way, it's taking the chaotic world outside and going within and making sense and organizing, and in a way, what's the word? Making things more harmonious, I guess, or more organized, ordered, if we want. And then this process of going within and doing that cleaning, that or ordering of things, then there's a deeper level, which is this central round, this central circle, which is golden, with the flower of life motif, which, as always, represents for me the source, actually, the energy of source that we are also part of as fractals of source. But it really represents source as a place where we go within and connect to the source that's within us, that we are, and that we're always connected to when we're really centered and well aligned. And then from this space of centeredness, of divine energy, there's two branches that go on the right and on the left, and they're of black background with yellow, not yellow, but golden dots, which to me could represent the little dots could represent the fractal of sources that we are, of source that we are, because each of these little dots in the black background represents this net of divine energies that we all are, and we're all kind of connected in that way. But the black background obviously would represent more like the challenges or the contrast, but we are all of these little fractals of source, and connected to the great central source energy that's within us. And the branches go right and left because, again, as you leave from the center where you're really aligned and really in the posture of centeredness, then after that you can go back to life where you will be, probably pushed to go right or to go left, because you're going to be back in the kind of chaotic elements of life. But you can keep that connection to the fractal of source that you are, and to source, because your energy is connected there first, and then goes into the world left and right, but always staying centered, always connected to the essence of who you are as a fractal of source and as a source as well. So this collage, which is again quite minimalistic in its choice of colors, very basic, I thought is also kind of bringing another type of beauty, which is more essential, more simple, but graceful and kind of basic, back to the basics, back to the essence. So Melentïr here is actually a collage that's available on my online boutique as an original, but also as a digital file. And both the original and digital file hold these, not only the energies, but the message, the essence of the message, and the high frequency and high vibrations of the Mella collective's messages and words and energies, mostly, because what the Mella collective inspires me is mostly frequencies, energies, bundles of information, which is, in a way, it's interesting because I'm Altean by my soul matrix, and this is how Alteans share information or communicate, is often through bundles of information. So this is also how the Mella collective offers me a feeling, a bundle of information, and then I transmit that to you in a spoken form, with my own words, with my own experiences. But this is how we collaborate. And this bundle of information, the frequency also imbues the artwork, the original and the digital file, through the iconography, through the image that's represented. Sorry. So I hope this message today really inspired you, or simply because you're all very wise and you all know all of this. I'm not, I'm no I'm no guru, I'm no teacher, I'm not bringing anything new, really. This is really about remembrance. It's really about reconnecting to that wise wisdom and truth that we all have within us, that reminds us sometimes when we get caught up in the chaos and the ego, in the fear, in the everything that's going on, to just go back within, recenter, go back to the essential of what's important in your life. And you can do this, by going within and doing this spiritually within your heart, within your soul. But this can also be done in very simple things in your life, grounded lives, daily lives, deciding what your values are. Who are the people you want to be around with? What do you want to eat? Or don't eat anymore? What type of objects do you want to be surrounded with or not? Things like that, because your outward reality, Antera, your daily reality, is a mirror of what goes on within. And if it's chaotic within, it will be chaotic outside. So just an invitation here. I invite you to keep your vibrations high, your frequencies high in these challenging times, and take immense care of yourself. And I hope you've enjoyed this message. Take great care of yourself. Bye. All my gratitude for helping this channel bring high vibrations and high frequencies to more people.